Good afternoon, everyone. It's a great honor and privilege to be here to address the distinguished audience. I thank AIOS for inviting me today. I would like to discuss the current and evolving treatment for diabetic macular edema. I have no financial interest. So the 2011, the projected prevalence of, the 2011, 366 million diabetic population was detected, which was much more than the earlier prediction, consisting of 8.3% of the adult world population. 2030, the prediction will rise to more than 51%, consisting of 552 million. So diabetes being an epidemic right now worldwide, we are facing a challenge to detect and to treat diabetic eye disease. The worldwide diabetic retinopathy incidence is 93 million out of all the diabetic patients, 93 million people with diabetic retinopathy of some form. 17 million out of that with proliferative disease and 21 with diabetic macular edema. So we are facing an extremely challenging situation to treat and preserve the vision. Diabetic macular edema is leading cause for the moderate vision loss. As we see here in this slide, this consists of a clinically significant diabetic macular edema consistent with hemorrhages, microaneurysm, hard exudates, and involving the center of the macula. And we see in the OCT, it's a multicystic changes, which causes a significant vision loss. So for the last 25 years, the gold standard for the laser diabetic macular edema is the laser treatment. ETDRS study showed and reported in 1985 that the focal or the grid laser treatment is the gold standard for reducing the moderate vision loss by 50%, which has involved center or threatened to involve the center. It also showed that it causes an occasional moderate visual gain and reduce the retinal thickening after the laser treatment. So DRCR.net is a National Eye Institute funded program in the United States. It is dedicated to multi-center clinical research for diabetic retinopathy, diabetic macular edema, and associated eye disease due to diabetes. I will be briefly discussing Protocol I. So the rationale for the study is to determine if anti-VEGF alone or combined with laser, or if triamcinolone combined with laser result in improved outcome compared with the laser alone for the treatment of diabetic retinopathy, which was shown in ETDRS study. So 3 treatment modalities for macular edema was compared with the focal laser. First is the intravitreal ranibizumab 0.5 milligram with prompt laser within a week. Intravitreal ranibizumab 0.5 milligram, and the laser was deferred for at least half a year. And intravitreal triamcinolone 4 milligrams with prompt laser within a week. The inclusion criteria was to have the visual acuity of 20/32 to 20/230. Retinal thickening due to macular edema involving the center, and the central subfield of macular thickening 250 or more micron. The following patients were excluded from the studies: DME treatment within 4 months, pan-retinal laser treatment within 4 months or anticipated within 6 months, major ocular surgery within 4 months, primary open-angle glaucoma, or treated steroid-induced increased intraocular pressure. Systemic factors like TIA, any cardiac events, uncontrolled hypertension, cerebrovascular accidents, and congestive heart failure was excluded from this study. So all three groups had equal number of patients, and after the end of the first year, 94% has completed, and 2-year completion was 87%. Mean changes in the visual acuity was seen at 1 year and 2 years. As we see here, that laser treatment and triamcinolone group did much worse than compared to both the arms of the ranibizumab here. Percentage of the patients who had 10 or more letters improvement in the visual acuity definitely showed that both the arms of ranibizumab group did better, and the deferred group did slightly better than the immediate laser treatment compared to the other two groups. 10 or more letter worsening of the visual acuity was noted, which also showed that the ranibizumab group outperformed the other two groups. Now, out of all the patients, pseudophakic eyes was studied, and it showed that the three injection group, to ranibizumab and triamcinolone, did better. So in pseudophakic eye, triamcinolone worked better compared to the phakic eyes. Mean change in the central subfield thickening also shows that at the 1 year mark, all the three injections group did better than the focal group, but at the 2 years triamcinolone did worse. Major ocular events were documented, like endophthalmitis. 5 cases were reported, out of 3 were in ranibizumab group and due to injection. Pseudoendophthalmitis was rare. Ocular vascular events were noted. Out of that, 2 were central retinal vein occlusion and 4 were branchial retinal vein occlusion. Vitrectomy and vitreous hemorrhage was more in the sham group, but that was because of the severity of the proliferative disease. Elevated intraocular pressure was obviously more in triamcinolone group compared to all the other groups. Cumulative probability of the cataract surgery over 2 years was 59% in triamcinolone group. Systemic risk factor was low in all the groups. In fact, ranibizumab had a lower incidence of systemic complication. So in summary, intravitreal ranibizumab with prompt laser or deferred laser had a superior visual acuity and OCT outcome compared to the focal treatment alone. 50% of the eyes had substantial improvement, 10 or more letters, and 30% had 15 or more. Substantial visual acuity loss, that is more than 10 letters, were uncommon. Results were similar whether the focal treatment was given starting with the first injection or it was deferred for 24 weeks. Additional ranibizumab and or laser were needed in most of the patients after 2 years, even if the success criteria were met early in the course of treatment. If ranibizumab to be given at it was this study, the data indicates a need for follow-up continuously undergoing this treatment. Diabetes is a chronic disease, and once we achieve a primary outcome with this study, we still need to have the follow-up for long period of time. Intravitreal triamcinolone combined with focal laser did not result in superior visual acuity outcome compared with the laser alone, despite greater reduction in the retinal thickening at 1 year, but not at 2 years compared to laser alone. Intravitreal triamcinolone combined with focal laser did not result in superior visual acuity outcome compared with the laser alone, despite greater reduction in retinal thickening at 1 year, but not 2 years. In pseudophakic eyes, triamcinolone group's outcome for visual acuity appeared to be similar magnitude that of 2 ranibizumab group, but is associated with increased intraocular pressure. I would like to thank all my colleagues and staff at the clinical research at the Beetham Eye Institute of Joslin Diabetes Center. Thank you for your attention.